Okay, so this one's all about water. We're gonna answer some of the most common questions that come our way about drinking wild water and spring water. So, where do you want to start?
I guess how to store and transport
Sure.
our spring water. So we store our spring water in glass carboys. If the word carboy sounds strange, it's because it's on an everyday word we use. That's the name for the large glass jugs that you would get from a brew your own wine store that they would sell you to brew your wine kits in. So these large glass carboys, they usually have a rubber or silicone cork or a regular material cork. You can get them with a handle. Oftentimes, you can find them used or new. I've got most of mine either through Facebook Marketplace or going to the brew it yourself wine stores and asking them for used jugs. That's how I've had success in the past. And how we transport them depends on what vehicle we're using. If we have a truck, we'll oftentimes place them all in the bed of the truck and ratchet strap them together. In the past, I've used life jackets that you would use for like canoeing or boating and wrap the jugs in a life jacket, and that narrows down the chance that they're going to knock together and possibly shatter. I tend to put just sweaters on them now, shirts or sweaters. That way, there's no clinging together. And then if we're in the vehicle, what we'll do is we'll put them behind our seats on the floor of the vehicle, or we will buckle them into the actual vehicle itself.
Yeah, and I would just add that you want to find something that works for you. So we have our system that works for our family, for our needs, for our volume, the number of trips that we make it to the spring. And so just remembering, if you can't carry yourself the like I don't know how much one of those jugs weighs, you can find smaller ones, and then maybe they're smaller carboys, or you do a liter or two at a time and you find your own thing. Maybe it's plastic because you can't store in glass. Yeah, just remember that there's a lot of ways to adapt. And I would just add, once we get home, we store our water in a cold, dark place. So you want to have it away from sunlight, and generally at a colder temperature.
Yeah, and if you got to put it into a room or maybe expose more light going on and off, like I've thrown blankets on them in the past. Yeah, usually in a basement. If you have a house with a basement, that's great. I've done it on the third floor of an apartment building where it gets really warm and just put it into the coolest room in the house, or store them in a room where I can throw a blanket over top of them. So no matter what, you can make it work. And then, like Daria said, if you have to use plastic, find the safest plastic you can, but good, better, best, and do whatever you can for your situation.
Mm-hmm.
We have friends who just use like the grocery store plastic water bottles that are like say 4 to 6 liters that have the handle on them that say spring water in the grocery store, and they put their spring water in there. We have friends who use like the water dispenser water cooler jugs that are a little harder plastic. That's probably a little step up in the plastic world because those
Mm-hmm.
have been used several times. They weren't the bottles weren't made and then water put into them immediately, which will absorb the most plasticizers and ick stuff that you want to try to avoid. Um, Even yard sales or thrift stores, if you can find any type of large amber or clear glass
Mm-hmm.
jugs, we have several like 5 liter ones that have little uh, or a little ringlet where you could fit one finger in. I've used those for years. Those are fun and they're easy to transport if you get like little milk crates or something, or little wooden crates that'll store that size. And there's multiple sizes. There's demijohns, which are really really big, which aren't very easy for transporting. So there's you know glass that comes in a massive size, which you probably need two people to move, and then they have all the way down to your mason jars. So whatever works for you, you get enough jars of yogurt and pasta sauce over the years you save up. You could just fill boxes with mason jars if you have to.
Actually, and while we're at it, do you want to explain how, like, if someone, let's just say someone wanted to feed their cattle or like a larger volume for animals. Do you want to explain the water pump, how we've seen other
Yeah,
people do it?
so the local spring that we go to, we've seen farmers and ranchers actually gather water when their well was low in the middle of the summer, and they come with a 1,000 liter tote, and they actually come with a small engine gas water pump, and they'll place the pump, you know 10 to 15 feet from the water source, attach hoses, and then pump the water out of the spring. The spring happens to have a pond which generates really really fast, probably like 1,000 liters every 3 minutes. So this thing's pumping out a lot of water, and they'll fill a tote in a trailer and then use that to bring to their cattle and their farm animals back on their property. So you
Mm-hmm.
can do it in bulk as well. And I've also, had fantasies of filling up that much water and bringing it home for, baths or backyard little kiddie pool or something for the pets. So yeah, there's always a solution or an arrangement that can work with your family, your situation, your location, anything.
So maybe we'll end with the question we get often is like, does this water go bad? How do you know? How long does it last if you're storing it?
So our particular spring, and it all depends where you go. Unless the water is carbonated, and some springs are carbonated or sulfurous. So there's all types of different springs. Our particular spring, if you're listening to this and you're local to where we are, um, our spring water, we've had friends where it sits in a jug for 3+ months in their home, and they haven't had any turning of the water or staleness taste in the water. Staleness would come from gases in the water staying for so long, where you could just think of like a flat pop type sensation. But what would cause that would be, I want to say amoeba. It's not amoebas. It's microalgae in the water is what's going to cause the water to turn green. So the what turns green in your pool is going to be algae and microalgae in the pool water. What they're doing is what they're naturally meant to do, which is absorbing sunlight and growing from that and eating whatever nutrients are in the water that they need to exist. So once again, keeping them in a cool, dark place is going to prevent the chance of any microalgae that would be naturally occurring and completely healthy in the water taking over your spring water and setting up house in your jugs. But with our particular spring, we haven't seen anything and had a lot of people inform us that they've had it 3 or 4 months in the jug, capped, and nothing has gotten into the water or grown in the water. So that being a testament not only to how clean the water is, that there is few to little microalgae being able to get in there because the source is so close and pure, and also um, that people are storing it properly as well.
Yeah, and I would just say one thing that we do, I don't know if it's just habit or we enjoy doing it, but when we go to get the next round of spring water, we actually rinse. So we'll put the old jug in, rinse it out, swoosh it around, pour it out, and then fill it with new water just to kind of reset the innards of the jug, I guess. Even though, for us we go to the spring about every month, maybe month and a half, depending on how much we drink and how much we gather. So, yeah, it's just something we do to keep things fresh, but we've never had any issues. Again, this is our spring, so you need to understand your spring, the water that you're drinking from. But yeah, hopefully that was helpful.
Do you want to tell them where they can find a spring?
Sure.
So if you're curious where a spring is and you're not local to us and you can't ask us personally where we get our water, a resource that I've used and I share, and when I've been on the road or we've been on the road, uh, we use a website called findaspring.com. And on this, they have a map of the world, and overlaid are spring locations that are submitted by users All over the world, you can find spring water. Spring water exists on every continent and every landscape. There are springs, and people submit them. They'll let if they've done tests or how long they've been there, how the quality of the water is. And it's a great resource if you, let's say, have to travel a few hours to a different destination, you're looking for spring water on the way there, or if you're there for an extended amount of time, you can locate a spring to have the best quality drinking water you could find. Also, if you're just looking for your local area and find a spring doesn't have something listed for your local area, I'll let you know the three tactics I was taught that worked for me and helped me find my first spring is number one, ask old people. So you're going to want to ask your elders, ask around to local folks and that might remember where the springs they were brought to as children. So that's one tactic. And then there's um, locating like fresh water sources in your area and trying to trace them around and seeing if you can find something, looking on maps and stuff like that, trying to see like where's this little trickling stream coming from. And what's the last
The
one? I
health
can't remember.
food stores.
Yeah, asking at like a health food store.
People who find value in drinking clean water and ask these people where there might be a location, because I think, yeah, there's a lot of ways to find wild water, to find spring water. And really the best, before findaspring.com existed, it was, word of mouth, and people just holding that culture of returning back and back again to their springs. So find the people who are still living in that way, still drinking that water, and who value that, and they will share with you, if you show interest and respect for that place. And so, we also have this water e-course. So if you're interested in learning about finding, spring water, learning about spring water, learning about wild water, how to find, drink water so that you can be healthier, have cleaner water. Um, yeah, and it's just a really, really beautiful way to be connected to the place that you live, and also to have more health and vitality in your life. So you can check out our website. We have the e-course on water there. And yeah, reach out if you have any questions.